operate within. And perhaps before I get to the detail of the letters, I'm going to show you the letters that I did write and the content therein. Just to remind us the issues that we're also putting before these entities that we want them to look into. Issues that we have severally talked about. One is per diem of the Speaker, because the Speaker, in a period of 164 days, actually 146 days, she received 2.6 billion shillings as per diem. When you do the tabulation, it shows that every single day she was being paid over 4,000 US dollars. And yet the per diem of the Speaker is 990 US dollars. So we want that matter investigated because it's got to be explained. Did the Speaker sit and decide I have now changed my commission? She does not have those powers. And if I have changed my per diem, she does not have those powers. Number two, and even more problematic, is the Speaker did not travel for all these engagements. In fact, one of them that happened in Midrand, South Africa, for which she got, per diem of 318 million shillings for 20 days. We understand there was no Uganda delegation to that meeting. So the Speaker did not travel. Just like for many of these others. Maybe she went for a day or two or whatever, but she claimed all of this money. And yet, she is claiming a lot more than she's entitled to. So there are two problems there. You are entitled to $990 per day, but you are giving yourself 4,000 US dollars per day. Number two, that we don't believe the Speaker traveled for all these days. Because the Speaker has never been away for... What it would mean is that last year, she was away for half the year. That's not true. The Speaker is always here, even when she will go away. I mean, there's a time she had twins. 2 weeks later, she was on the side which I lead, the opposition side. And I gave indication that I'll go for one night. I'll be there for one night and return to take care of other responsibilities that I do have. So I did go, came back, gave a report, I interacted with the doctors, gave a report to Parliament about the progress of this member and so on. A couple of days later, I saw a reflection on my account of money. They had processed money for 5 days as opposed to 1 day, for which I was in Nairobi, which I had indicated I'll be going for. But I'm told they were processing for several others, so it was done collectively. I said, okay. But as is normally the case, as we should be accountable as leaders, when you travel, of course sometimes it might be you have gone somewhere and then you realize I need to return for some other engagements. You submit your boarding passes. We have an office here at Parliament called the Accountability Office, where those boarding passes are submitted, and so the days tabulated. Any extra days for which you were not where you were meant to be, they are deducted off your emoluments for the following month. And so I did submit all of that because I said, no, I was there for one night, so I should not be paid for 5 days. But that process delayed. And so the money was not deducted off the March emoluments. So I was told it would be deducted off the April emoluments. I said, no, I'm not going to wait for that. So I withdrew money from my account for the 4 days, and I went and deposited that money in the accountability office. And I got a receipt for it. Because I said, I don't want this matter to take longer than it should. Yeah, so if you're waiting to deduct it off my pay of April, I'm not going to wait for that. I don't want people to misuse it. So I withdrew money for the 4 days, and I paid it back to Parliament. That's what we ought to do as accountable leaders. Even though, like I'm saying, I didn't ask for, I was meant to be there for one night, but in process, it can happen. Stepping aside. And we're saying, wait a minute. IGG, what exactly are you running away from? Why are you running away from your responsibility? Because the mandate of the IGG is clear. The IGG cannot say that there is somebody else who is investigating, in fact auditing, because the Auditor General audits, of course, as the investigator and so on. But the IGG cannot say, the Auditor General is investigating, so let me step aside. No. Do not run away from your responsibilities, except if you're saying you're too scared. as well. So there's no law, because the mandate of the IGG is very clear. The mandate of the Auditor General is very clear. There's no overlap. So the IGG, there's no law that bars the IGG from investigating a matter just because somebody else is investigating. Because the IGG is an independent entity, statutory entity put in place by law. So we think that the IGG needs not to run away from her responsibility, which is very clear within the law. And the mandates are different. Besides, the Auditor General is an officer of Parliament.